they do lose here, if they win, of course, as well, it's interesting because they're expected to win, and it's not life-changing if they win because it's the same life. Even though that does weigh on them, I gotta feel like they're playing this one very normal with clear heads.
So we are going to see possible level 1 invade. See them poking back and forward. More a case of just, we want to get this ward in, and we're getting the hell out of here. We haven't really seen many level 1 fights in this tournament so far.
There really haven't been much of any overall, and it's not that the teams are playing super reserved overall, it's just that the invades aren't catching kills off of the back of them. That, they'll see each other go in, but they'll skirt around the edge, or someone will get out, or Flash will get burned, though moves are still often made.
I mean, Jack mentioned earlier on that he thought that maybe the ward placements, everybody's got so well known at the ward placements that it's just preventing everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Where there's, basically 3 main jungle entrances right now. There's, one right by blue buff, one near Wraith, and one at the top. And that's against purple side jungle. Of course, those are mirrored on the other side. And so if you put a champion there in one place and a ward on the other, you pretty much know all of what's going on.
Okay, we're seeing the top laner taking away, looking like the Wraiths there is going to have all of the Wraiths. So it's going to be Jax taking that away, which means, does that mean we're going to possibly see a potential gank or a definite invade from Amumu on bottom?
I think it's not the situation here. I think the Wraiths were just taken away because they'll respawn in time, and Mumu's going to get help on the golden buff. He'll get that smiteless, and that's pretty much normal now for junglers now to get a smiteless leash because your side lane can still get to lane in time, but he'll just be able to clear, get to the lizard and just be fine.
Okay, so let's take us through the lanes. We're looking at the duo lane right now down the bottom here. It's Coppin Elements, it's Misfortune and Lulu versus Ezreal Sona. Ezreal Sona used to be the ultimate poke combo.
It absolutely was, but now Misfortune people kind of relearn that she was an amazing lane champion. Lulu as well, really. These are kind of 2 champions, or 2 lanes that are trying to do the same thing, deal damage from a distance and try to turn things around. Curse with a quick lead because they took double golems, have a level advantage. You're seeing Cop at level 2. This is their time to kind of push themselves on the opposition and make some moves, but realistically the heals from Sona, the long range of Ezreal, I don't expect to see kills come out of it.
So St. Vicious taking away the red there, may well head towards the bottom. As it is though, the mid lane is going to be Ryze versus Katarina.
Ryze versus Katarina, it's interesting because Ryze has this weird power curve where, unlike most mages, he actually gets much better as the game goes on farther and farther and farther on, but being range versus melee, he's actually got a decent matchup even at level 1 here.
You can see Reigns at the moment with that slight level advantage, but here's the top lane. It is Jax versus Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix jumping away, took jump at level 2. No doubt taking them some rockets in there as well. I can never remember the name. It was
Void Spike.
Void Spike, of course it is.
Yeah, so he's got Taste Their Fear right now. Void Spike going to be probably the first evolution to grab, but certainly he's got a lot of trading power right now. And these are 2 champions who actually scale quite well into the late game overall. And that's going to be, an important thing to sort of deal with, is that they'll both be explosive late game. Winning a lane here is actually really important.
And I'm intrigued by that one because he hasn't taken Void Spike. Most people take Void Spike as level 1 these days. It's something that certainly the Korean teams have been taking. I think SOAS may be the same. He hasn't done that.
Well, you don't have to take it at level 1 in order to max it and evolve it first. I think really this is about being in a one-on-one matchup and winning it.
Yeah, and it's against Jax. And obviously, he gives you the health if you use it close up by. We can see at the moment the jungler in the top lane getting ready, but Reigns is going to get taken down very low. Has to burn the flash out. Can Nijaki finish him off? No! The Ignite will not get him. The health pot just saving his life.
And there we go. That's a lane where you've got, again, Katarina in this bad matchup, being melee versus ranged, just a million health potions in that matchup and having to chug through them to stay alive. And it's going to actually hurt his money quite a bit.
We can see a little bit more poke. Nero heading down towards the bottom. Has not got a ward there to spot him out, so could try and bait this one out.
I don't know if Complexity... Actually, I guess they could, because Cheesy Cookie's pretty low, but just now, actually, kind of unfortunately for Complexity, you just saw Elements go back to base. They will not be pushing in. That Amumu gank will go nowhere.
He was just going to sit and waste his time there. Cop quite happily to sit and back off and let that lane push itself. We do see Nero heading up towards the mid lane, but we do have the jungler of St. Vicious there. And St. Vicious, he's probably the most outspoken member of Complexity, but we're seeing a really early dragon here.
Oh, this is a really nice move. They saw that the bottom lane actually recalled back, and so and actually the mid lane as well. So they had an immediate 4-on-2 on the map and just kind of jumped for it. And unless a terrible miss might happen, that's a very good opener. It's a really nice set of map control.
5 minutes in, and the first dragon going down. That's going to definitely throw the timers out. St. Vicious was pretty much wise to it though, trying to get in there and get the rupture, but completely blind to anything happening there. So let's have a look through the lane so far. Top lane pretty even between the two. Mid lane, well, you can see there Nijaki has got that slight advantage. He's already forced Reigns to go pack in once, but honestly it's going to be pretty level, I think, between these two. I think he's quite happy to fight on the turret, although he missed a couple of CS there.
Yeah, overall it's going to be okay, though. Basically, you saw an initial lead for Curse Gaming. Their lanes kind of started to win. You can actually see pretty much down the line, except for the top lane. You've got Rise with an advantage, you've got Misfortune with an advantage, you've even got Shogath with an advantage. But the gold lead just got completely flipped around. That early Dragon Gambit is worth pretty much any number of minions lost.
It is certainly, you can see the gold currently with Complexity. Only just by 400 gold, though. So still very close between the two. Just 6 minutes gone in the game. This is the third group of the day. There will be a fourth group to follow this one. We will be going to around about 1 a.m. here in Los Angeles. And as it stands, we have 4 teams already through. Fear, Good Gaming University, Meat Playground, and Dirtnap Gaming. And of course, those matches will all be happening tomorrow. It also means, unfortunately, that 4 teams have gone out of the tournament, and well, we have to eliminate it at some point, and it's just the way the cookie crumbles. And as it stands, Curse Gaming are looking to try and join that party. Complexity, though, in their way. Can they stop them? Can they manage to cause any sort of upset on them? And as it stands, very close, as you would expect this early on in the game.
Oh, Nero just got spotted trying to go across there. A nice play by Voyboy, putting a ward down in that brush. You've seen lane ganks become more and more frequently the new thing in this game, where the jungler will come in straight down the lane, camp in the side brush, and then turn into a gank. Nero, even though he's not level 6, was looking for that one, but a really, really nice ward timing by Voyboy says, he could be lane ganking here, drops one down.
And St. Vicious trying to do the same thing, because he's ninja'd his way in towards the bush down the bottom. They have a forward ward in the next bush. They're waiting to see. This is going to be a really hard one to lock down. It's actually GZ Cookie going to go for them. He flashes just before the silence lands. It's kind of a delay on the silence there, and that completely backfires, and they just back away from that one. St. Vicious realized it's not going to happen.
All right, there we go. Elements really just going in, making moves. A nice glitter lance there. Tags Chase on fire, but problem is you're fighting a Sona lane. She's got health sustain. Doesn't do much.
So blue buff being picked up. Is it going to be Nero to take it? I guess he will do. Voyboy just pouncing away on the top there against Grim Samurai. The fight back and forward continues. Very even in CS, as you mentioned earlier on, between pretty much all of the lanes. But Nijaki, I feel, is starting to bully out this mid lane.
Absolutely, man. It's going to get even worse now that Ryze is level 6. If Reigns had a really good early game and they were like equal at 6, maybe the Katarina ultimate would deal enough damage to turn that one around. But here Nijaki's got a full Tear of the Goddess, or he's filling up Tear of the Goddess, and he's got kind of a lot of room to grow with it. He's going to keep bullying him around.
Well, top lane Voyboy, you can see he's going to get caught out with a stun, but he's going to have a little bit of catch there. But goes for the Ignite, went for it, didn't have the mana though. Couldn't land that Q towards the end there. Had sacrificed him, nearly caught him out there. And meanwhile, in the mid, Reigns is going to get caught out. The Ignite's going down. Is it going to be enough? It will be. First Blood finally comes down just shy of 9 minutes into the game.
And that's an excellent matchup there. That Ryze pick into Katarina, really, really wise choice here by Curse Gaming. Not only was it a good lane just for Ryze, but he's actually shutting down Katarina doubly at the same time. This is like the #1 matchup for Curse to like win the game.
So Nijaki's going to come across. He's going to get that blue buff, and that's just going to surely mean more pain in that mid lane.
Absolutely, man. Infinite mana Ryze, who's now got low cooldowns. It's just very, very brutal. You'll see the combos keep coming out, and now he's at the point where he can start shoving the lane and roaming. His ultimate gives him area of effect damage on his abilities. He can turn that on, splash down all the minions, and then roam and gank somewhere else, maybe shut down Jax.
Okay, and let's take a look through Kha'Zix's build, because he's going a little bit different from the start, kind of building into a later game rather than an early game brutalizer, etc.
Yeah, we've seen 2 different builds here. So what we're seeing from Voyboy is the beginnings of what we saw from Westrice, which was a fast Tear of the Goddess. You have mana to keep spamming all the time. But he didn't go for Mana Immunity right away. He's still got the Brutalizer early on, upgraded towards Bloodthirster, and then later on, when it was more capped out, went for Muramana and all that. So he might upgrade Mana Immunity right away. I wouldn't expect that, but yes, he's basically looking for this sort of late game item build.
Interesting Voyboy there. He's feeling a little bit of faintness there. He wasn't quite sure where the jungler's been. He obviously hasn't been visible for a while. Didn't want to get baited into anything. Dragon will be up in a minute, so let's just see whether anyone's going to really make some moves to this one. You'd expect Curse to definitely try and fight for the next one.
I would expect so. Honestly, they feel like they're ahead right now. They're up 400 gold. They realize how powerful Nijaki is. And he can kind of, as long as he doesn't get killed off right away in a team fight, he can make all the things happen for his team.
Shumpo away on towards that mid lane. Nero's going to get caught. He's had to burn the flash there to avoid the damage. And honestly, I think with the Ryze just so close by, he probably could have called him out.
It was a possibility there, even with the flash being down, though. It's not a bad trade in the first place. It's going to make just ganks all the harder over and over. And Nero now has a much harder time getting into range for his ultimate.
So Cop slowly but surely building up towards that Brutalizer as well. We're just coming up to 11 minutes into this game, and this mid lane is starting to become an issue for Complexity. Nijaki, 83 CS to 48. You can see Nero just off the side. He really wants to try and get in and help his mid laner out.
And that's going to be a really good thing for him overall. They do want to try to get some pressure back there. They need to shut down Nijaki just a little bit because he's going to keep skilling throughout this game. It's a team full of amazing late game carries. And, I mean, what are you going to do against a full channel Misfortune ultimate if you can't get onto her? What are you going to do against Voidboy resetting through the fights and Nijaki just throwing out spells?
You can see Cop just bullying out this bottom lane. Chase on Fire having a few problems. Double up. Actually didn't land. I'm pretty sure he used the double up there. I'm pretty sure he used the... Heard the sound of it. Meanwhile, you can see Nero trying to push down through the bottom lane.
Yeah, and they're not going to quite spot him on the way in. So there's some ward coverage from Curse. If they jump out this brush, they'll get spotted. But here's St. Vicious as well. Cheesy Cookie's trying to bait, but they're right in front of Cho'Gath. I don't think they know about this.
Oh, flash straight away crescendo. Is it going to be enough? Cheesy Cookie gets feasted on. Elements gets taken down though. Cheesy Cookies are going to try and get away. Bullet time was not enough, and there's going to be the Katarina ultimate. St. Vicious backs away, but it was a 1-for-1 trade. Both the supports being taken down, and honestly, considering it was a 4v3, that was a good win for Curse.
That was really, really good overall. It was a nice coordinated gank. The random flash ult from Sona into the bandage toss was a great move, but Saint was just there to counteract it. Feasted on, just made Cheesy Cookie fall over. And the teleport cat is something we've seen work so well before, but it's a 5-minute cooldown.
Well, Nero realized that he certainly can't try and defend that turret. Rain's going to try and push pressure on it. Nero might get taken down. He came back for another bite of the cherry, and well, it was bitter.
Yeah, that was pretty harsh overall. Now Chase on Fire not in the best shape, but looks like Cop's not going to give chase here.
No, he's definitely not, but Nijaki is burning down that mid turret. That is almost gone. He has absolutely dominated the mid lane. You can see 106 minions to 58 as soon as Reigns went down the bottom to try to create something. He didn't even get an assist. He got there too late before that support went down, and now they're going to go for Dragon.
And there we go. That is Curse, in fact, saying, yep, the next Dragon is ours for sure. And they've got total map control. There's no way Complexity stops them here. And they'll have a guess on the timer, but they won't really know for sure. You're going to hope for their sake that they're like, yeah, this looked like the time they met a Dragon as they all come back to lane. But, if they miss the timer, that's going to be another advantage for Curse here.
And timed it, finishing off with the feast to get them stacks on Glitter Lance from Elements. Just missing out on Cheesy Cookies there. Nero again. He looks like he's going to pick up the blue buff once again. He is getting all the blue buffs, all the red buffs, so he's getting stacked up nicely. And he is keeping up the levels. He's still up with St. Vicious. There's St. Vicious as he picks up the golems. How do you level between these two? Oh, meanwhile at the top there, Voidboy actually getting caught with the counter-strike. Grim Samurai thought about continuing on in that one, but he's just going to back away. Nijaki going to get caught. Bandage shot straight on towards him. The rest of Katarina was not ready and alert on that one.
I don't think they would have gotten the kill for it anyway. No ult from Amumu and not enough damage from Katarina, honestly. There's no way they would kill off Rise, but really what they did was buy about 10 seconds and slow him down, so he has to back later on.
So, first turret of the game was picked up by Complexity, but I think it's only a matter of time before the mid lane turret also goes down to balance things out. So, Chase on Fire, along with Cheesy Cookie, doing a good job in this bottom lane.
Absolutely. I mean, they're keeping up in minions. They're actually winning in minions ever so slightly. Wrong prediction on me. I really thought that was going to be a great lane for Curse here, but they didn't capitalize too much on that level 2 advantage. But, yep, plus a turret and plus just very couple of minions here. It's going to be a really good lane. That's where Complexity's win might come from here.
Okay, so balance things out. We're at 15 minutes almost coming into this one. Lanes are starting to converge into the mid lane comps. Ooh, St. Vicious is just getting a little bit of poke there. How are they looking so far? How are the team comps going to start balancing out, say, by the time we get around to that next Dragon fight?
I feel like super late game. Well, so by the time the next Dragon fight, honestly, is 5 minutes away or so, and it's looking really, really good for Curse. Jackie's had such an amazing game so far. He's well ahead of his curve in items. He's got Tear the Goddess and a Rod of Ages. That'll be half stacked by the time the next Dragon fight comes by, so he's going to be hugely massive. By this point, you're going to see Misfortune finish her Bloodthirster as well, so she'll catch up with Ezreal. And no big fights are going to be starting in the next couple of minutes, I don't think. There's nothing to fight for, so Curse will finish finish all their big items, and Jackie's going to be gigantic.
There's Jackie taking down the turret. Voidboy taking a bit of damage in the top there. Having a few problems against Grim Samurai here. Starting to build a bit more damage up. I did find it funny, just a little giggle there as a sort of St. Vicious sort of come up, try and get a bit of a lane tax. And now Jackie's like, no, bursts everything. It's like, I'm going to blow everything just to make sure you don't get any of this gold. And you can just see the playfulness between the two. Voidboy feel like is going to bait this top one.
Yeah, you've got St. Vicious waiting around right in the background, staying out of vision range. They know Grim Samurai has been playing aggressively over and over again. Void does have a slow available. His passive is charged. You can see that by the extra purple on his claws there, and he's going to go in on Samurai.
And there it is. Grim Samurai does try and catch into it. Is he going to be baited enough? Is he going to have enough damage? They both leap strike away and jump onto it, and that's going to force Grim Samurai away. St. Vicious just wasn't close enough to try and get enjoying that one. I think Voidboy kind of did more damage than he was expecting.
Yeah, that was a whole heck of a lot of pain, but Grim Samurai, you know, good idea to kind of keep his head up there and say, there's a lot of pain coming out here, leaping away properly. Didn't even have to burn Flash to escape.
Nero's going to come off to the top. They're still waiting to see if they can bait this one. Nero's still only level 9. If he goes towards that bush, doesn't matter. It doesn't even need to be towards the bush. They're going to tower dive it. They're going to try and catch on towards him. Has to use Curse of the Sad Mommy to save his own skin, which means that will not be available for quite some time.
That is a rough situation to be in when you're a Mumu. That's a very, very long cooldown. He burned that without golem buffs. We have another 2.25 minutes really to wait until that spell is back. This really slows Complexity down. It'll be back up in time for Dragon, but they have a lot less ganking power now.
So top and middle outer turrets down for Complexity. Complexity meanwhile trying to put a bit of pressure on towards this mid one. You can see the duo lane were heading up there as well, but Nijaki was absent. He wasn't there. He'd gone up towards the top. Didn't really care, and he's going to come back and clear out that wave without any issues whatsoever. Meanwhile, the duo lane of Curse Gaming heads back down towards the bottom there. Cop's just going to continue farming on. So, let's have a look at these two AD carries as they are pretty much hitting some high notes. 152, 152 CS apiece. How do you balance between the two? Misfortune, Ezreal.
Well, honestly, they're going to perform slightly different roles on their teams. Misfortune's going to be there trying to just spam everything down with her ultimate. Looks like Brutalizer's still on the table for her. She's going to be very, very front-loaded in the battle, and then just try to kind of keep up there with the Bloodthirster and kind of pick up the scraps. Whereas Ezreal, he's going to put up a little bit up front, but he's going to go much more of an auto-attack based build. He's got a Zeal there. I'm guessing Static Shiv. We saw that on a prior Ezreal hero in this team, or in this tournament, and he's going to be much more about persistent damage. So he's going to be one of the few people on his team to actually have a persistent damage presence in a fight.
So we see Kha'Zix down here. The Dragon is up in a minute, and Reigns and Nero. Nero's too slow to react here. He may get caught out. He's realized it. Now he's going to start heading away. Reigns was already gone. Meanwhile, the top two is actually getting beaten on by Jax. That means he can take that turret down. He can probably level that playing field pretty quickly. That's going to be 3-2 in turrets. Meanwhile, back to the mid, you can see the green team are starting to gather up. Curse Gaming, well, they're ready and waiting for this next Dragon fight.
This is a really good time for them overall. They've got cooldowns up. They've still got about 40 seconds before Amumu has Curse the Sad Mummy back. So if they had timed that cooldown, and honestly, Curse are good enough players who have probably done that, they will actually know when they're able to engage and when they should start being afraid of Amumu.
So Voidboy has gone away. They realize the blue buff is up, and Curse are going to try and fight for this one. And honestly, I don't think Complexity are in any position. There's only the duo lane that's nearby to try and get in there, and they're not even going to fight for it.
No, absolutely not. They just don't have anything to do with this. The Dragon, I mean, they're just waiting around it. That's going to be up pretty soon, and Mumu will have his ult just in time. They're just waiting with the pink ward up.
St. Vicious laughing on top of the ward there as he sits and waits. Here we go, 2 seconds, here he goes, but it's going to be Nijaki that forces the fight, and that's going to be coming straight in. Curse of the Sad Moment, but it's too little, too late. Bullet time had already gone up. They dropped Sona immediately. St. Vicious flashes out of the damage. That's going to be the Katarina damage. Is it going to be enough? But no! Here comes Voidboy. Jumps in. Gets one. Gets two. He's just pouncing around. He's just getting the resets. Blah, all over the place. Just ripping apart. And that is a triple kill for Voidboy. Ripping through the entire team. St. Vicious flashed out of it. Didn't matter. Voidboy came at the perfect time.
That was just the best time he could have ever shown up there. The area of effect damage so hugely massive. You're going to see them clean up with Dragon as well. But, you know, for those of you like, well, this is Curses for sure, I want to give a counterpoint real quick, though. That team fight was them basically catching Cheesy Cookie off guard. It was basically a 4-on-5, and it was very, very, very close.
Very, very close fight, and we're going to take a look at it because, take us through it, Free, because that, like you mentioned, if he hadn't been caught, that could have been very different.
So he gets Crescendo down, Ezreal gets the ult, but they've all been locked down without Katarina, without Jax there. Now they come to clean up, and just look at the punishment they get. Ezreal and Kat just crushing things. She's able to jump forward, picks up 1, 2, and 3 right there. Jackie falling at the last second. This team can do that kind of damage. Look at their Ezreal triple kill. That's so important for them. But they had to waste both their crowd controls without any follow-up. Next time, if they're actually coordinated, you see that go the other way.
And for future reference, whenever you do see Kha'Zix jumping around, it is kind of a Riot office thing now, apparently, that every time he does make that leap, you've got to go...
Yes.
that is a thing.
Thank you, Jat, for making that happen.
Thank you, Jat, for making that happen. Now, everyone around the world will be doing the same thing. So, Voyboy is going to pick up red. He came in just at the right time, and I think he's just hit the point where he hadn't evolved his wings back there, but he definitely has now. I don't think he's... Or either that, he did a really short jump.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, he's evolved his wings, as you'd expect, W and then E.
Yes, and then everyone seems to get the ultimate last as well, because you get one more stealth, and when you stealth, you get a charge of your passive again, and that's going to let your W do even more damage. So it's actually, you don't care that much about the isolation Q, it's about that getting one more slow proc, one more little haste buff, and chasing people down.
And if you are unsure what we were talking about with the evolves, it's obviously every time he levels up his ultimate, he can pick one of those skills that he's got is Q, W, E, or R to upgrade, and you can see it shows it graphically as well. It's definitely an important thing to note, either whether you're against that cat champion or whether he's on your team. You can kind of see what your teammate has got or whether your opponent's got. Just check it out on one of the many pages out there that shows it, or, of course, check out the Summoner Spotlight.
League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring Kha'Zix.
I like it.
Thank you.
So, yes, Curse versus Complexity. We are here at the North American Qualifiers. Curse's first game of the day. Complexity's first game of the day. Currently 8-4. It is still pretty close. Only 5k gold difference. 3-2 in turrets. But as we just saw, if Complexity can land them combos in the right order, if they hit them all at once, chain them, there's a lot of damage that comes out from that team.
There is. The difficulty, though, is that they don't have anything to fight over again. They've got another pretty long cooldown until Dragon comes back up. They can try to push down for turrets, but the difficulty is they're not really an advantage anymore. They're behind a fair bit in gold. It's much harder for them to start a fight. And so Chris gets to dictate the pace of the game a little bit more. It's going to make it harder and harder for Complexity to get that 5-on-5 they really want.
In the moment, they're going to try and push in towards the Baron. And Voyboy taking a lot of damage off that Baron. Chase on fire, just using that Q to try and catch him out. Oh, Nero, you are so close to the whole team. I don't think he realized it until he just walked past that ward. Suddenly spotted the entire team strolling past the other side of the bush.
Okay, so here we have Curse really, again, trying to dictate. Now, even though the area of effect ultimates are up, if Curse plays this right, they can split up the damage and not get chunked down. But actually, they know they're safe here because Katarina is not available. Teleport is a 3-second long channel, or almost 4 seconds, really. And so they know they have time to fight this.
They're going to see Nero comes in, but bullet time's just enough. He already gets dropped in there, and Voyboy goes leaping in. Voyboy too close to the turret. That's going to be Katarina getting one. Got the reset. Is it going to be enough? Can't get it back in around there. And Jackie just turns around, throws on those Qs out. It's like a nuclear bomb coming straight to your face, and he cannot fend them off, and they're surely going to get the turret.
This is a really, really good thing for Curse there. They picked up 2 for 1, and they can absolutely keep going forward.
Oh, cheesy cookie. Oh, the Q just about hanging on in there. And like you mentioned, they just keep on pushing through this one. Voyboy got a little carried away. He got a little too excessive, got in there too early, but Grim Samurai Nero got dropped very quickly.
Well, it's really important that Curse fight shorter duration engagements, really. The damage per second output from Ezreal is actually going to be higher than they'll get from Cop's Misfortune. And they know that going into the build. They know that she's relying on the ultimate. And they also realize that Katarina and Jax really will scale throughout a fight very, very well. They need these fights to end reasonably quickly because they'll start getting outpaced. And so Jackie, while his ultimate is on, he's going to put out as much as he can. Misfortune's going to dump the ult. St. Vicious can burst something down. But if nothing happens in the first 10 seconds of a battle, it starts to get really, really difficult for them. So it's okay for them to all in, take up a death if it gets them the kills.
So I'm seeing, is that Home Guard boots already on Voyboy?
If it's white, it's Home Guard.
Yes, it is white, and it is Home Guard. He's going to go for Chase on Fire, pumps the Q down, and Reigns immediately gets prisoned there. I think he's just about to start his ulti off. I don't think no, he didn't go for the ulti. He just got room prison straight away before he got a chance to channel it.
It's got just completely chunked down. I mean, that is the really difficult thing to deal with here is Jackie is very, very ahead here, and he's now getting to the point where he's getting a bit of beef under his belt as well. There's kind of two builds for Rise. You know, one is a bit more glass cannony, and one is just kind of this tanky cooldown reduction damage dealer. And now that he's got that Glacial Shroud, he's going to start being very difficult to kill.
So 30 seconds on Dragon, but Curse are moving towards the top lane at the moment. No Jackie's coming back from buy-in, and Cop is just going to wipe out this wave and keep the pressure on them. What have Complexity got to do to try and bring themselves into this one? Katarina's just shown herself bottom, so they realize that they could possibly go for a 5-on-4 situation here.
Yeah, unfortunately, no teleport up for Katarina. I mean, realistically, Complexity has one game plan, and that is get a 5-on-5 team fight. They're still not behind enough that they can't... Like, it's close enough of a game that they can win a 5-on-5 despite the gold difference, but they need the engage to go very, very well. And I think Curse might have too much discipline that Complexity could take, but like a good flash initiation from Sona or Amumu is all it'll take.
Oh, there it is, Grim Samurai getting caught in the bullet time. This time Nero comes in, puts the... I think he got dropped before Curse and Samurai came out. Voiva got took around by on the side there. Reigns is still alive, but that's a double kill for St. Vicious as they back out. So that was another successful push on the turret, 2 for 1.
Yeah, they're going just 2 for 1 over and over. That's kind of how these fights have to go for Curse, because they realize there's so much front-loaded damage on Complexity. Someone's going to have to take that damage at some point. Someone's probably going to die to do it, but now it's a 4-on-3. With the major cooldowns not available, they can keep pushing takedown turrets like this.
And another turret down. It's 5-2 in terms of turrets, 13-6. In kills, 43,000. to 35,000. It does not take a grade A mathematician to figure out that Curse have a rather sizable advantage. And again, they're just picking up, taking anything away from the jungle. Curse Gaming now starting to be in control of this one. How are Complexity going to turn things in their favor?
They just need to get these fights to work somehow, and I don't know what it is that they can do, but you know, they're clearly not able just to turtle on turrets because Curse are pushing very relentlessly. They can't just sort of wait and pretend they have a Nivea on their team. The fights are just continually brought to them. Now they have, I was going to say they had a chance to kind of stab at Dragon, but they don't have that chance because there you go, it's picked up right there by St. Vicious. Ezreal was alone in the top lane. If the 5-on-5s don't work, they've got to just rely on Ezreal. He's got the most gold on that team, I'm going to guess. 10,000 actually. He's as rich as anyone else is on Curse. So
they're out of position.
It's just chase on fire.
Oh, they're going to try. They're going to go for Baron, and Curse are just like, fine, you go for Baron, we are going to take your base. But they have turned around. They've spotted the Baron in there, and now they're going to come in for a full-on fight. See Elements in there. Elements is doing as much as he can. Bullet time will just drop them surely in there. They do pick up the Baron. Is it going to be quick enough? No. You can see Grim Samurai jumped in and just got melted. Chase on fire goes down to Voyboy as well. Now you can see he just leaps on towards Cheesy. Cookie, that's a double kill for Voyboy, and well, I mean, Curse could have taken that either way. They could have said, fine, you can have Baron, but they're just like, why not? We'll just melt them.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal, and now 2-on-5, they won't be able to defend their base anymore. This is going to be at least an inhibitor. The respawn timer's only 23 seconds. They won't get more than the inhibitor, but on net, I don't know if it was the best thing for Complexity.
No, that was kind of a mix-up, I think, between the team as well, because Nero kind of flashed out, but Grim Samurai jumped in as the leap strike. So one flashed away and said, I'm getting the hell out of here. One went in and said, I can fight this one.
Exactly, and Grim Samurai could have just leap struck to Amumu and gotten out with him. Even if his flash was down, to be fair, it was down, he could have just leap struck to Amumu. Ezreal could have jumped out of the pit. They could have sacrificed Sona, and that's okay, but like everyone else on that roster could have jumped over the wall. Jax, Katarina, Amumu flashed, Ezreal. They could have left that fight completely scot-free and gotten Baron for nothing. Could
have got out of there because they got it before bullet time even came in. They could have just, that's it, we're gone.
It was a mid-bullet time, but none of them died to it. They had the ability to escape that battle. They went in and got caught. They could have left.
They went in and got caught. Just poor, is that just poor
decision-making?
Decision-making?
Yeah.
Is that a group thing? I mean, it didn't seem to be a team decision because some went, some cascade.
I don't know. I'd like to ask them after the game, like, who made the decision to go fight after Baron? Because, I mean, granted, they're behind in gold, but you wear a Baron buff, you can weather a 10-kill deficit if you're wearing Baron buff.
Oh, well, never mind. It didn't happen for them, and now it is 16-6. They still have a few members with the Baron buff, but it's not enough, and they have an inhibitor down, which means they're going to be fighting against those super minions coming up the mid lane. They have got the top and bottom lane pushed pretty heavily, which means Cop and the rest of Curse are just going to farm it out for a little bit longer. So, take us through some of the new items. Some of the items that these teams are starting to prefer. You can see the Bulwark in there to start with.
Yeah, Runic Bulwark is a really, it's basically a tier 4 item. There's now like tier 4 items in the game. And it's basically the magic resist upgrade of Aegis of the Legion. Basically, you can upgrade Aegis, and then you can choose to go there and just stack more MR on top of it. So the only reason you'll see Runic Bulwark if you say, yep, we really need to block magic damage in this build. Otherwise, you can stop at Aegis and be fine. And it just gives you a little bit more choice in your auras.
Yeah, and his perfect build, obviously, to try and counter towards Katarina that's in there,
yeah,
which really was kind of the burst damage that was catching them out earlier on. Static Shiv, there's another item that a lot of people have been starting to pick up over Phantom Dancer.
It's interesting because it's hard to do the math on what is better between Static Shiv and Phantom Dancer. The difference between the two items, basically, Phantom Dancer has an extra 10% crit chance and 10% attack speed, but Static Shiv gives you a bunch of burst.
My word, you just saw Jackie shred 2 members down to half health just simply by popping his ulti and standing right next to him. He's up to level 17, so he has got a little few levels over those. You look at towards Cheesy Cook, he's got 5 level advantage on that one, and this is another turret that Curse are just picking up for free.
Absolutely, man. They've got just complete control of the map. Now, with the ultimates all back up and everyone but Amumu's flash available, this is another chance that Complexity has to start a fight. They should fight under the turret if they do, though.
They are going to try and fight it. Ezreal was not there. He's just backed off, so he's coming back in a moment. Trisha Barrage not available. Cheesy Cookie gets caught out slightly there, and Voidboy just waiting in the wings, literally, to pounce. Keeping those Void Spikes going in there, trying to keep the slows down. They are going to work out that ward because they've got a pink ward of their own to the side. How are they going to finish this siege?
Well, they should just be able to continually just sort of poke over and over. The one thankful thing for them is super minions are pulling sort of attention away.
Oh, well, Nero's gone for it, and now it's not under the turret. Is it going to be enough damage? No, it's not, because the bullet time was perfectly placed. Jumped off the side. Voidboy's leaping around, gets one, gets a second. He's going to take the turret up. It's not going to be quite be enough. He does manage to come through there. There's the turret, and I think this is going to be surely the game for Curse, as a lot of people did expect. 21-6 Complexity. Well, they held out for as long as they could, but, well, Curse Gaming, their team fighting is just superior.
St. Vicious every single time. His flash was basically up for those team fights. He took pretty much all the damage. He went down to like 10% and just flashed out of range and said, great, he wasted 3,000 health worth of damage, no problem.
And there it is, Curse Gaming taking